Tony Hawk's Underground is effectively the best skateboarding game of all time, and I can say that definitively because it's also the only one I've ever played, so it's objectively correct. Due to unforeseen circumstances, I've been trapped in my house for way too long and thought to myself, I wonder if you can beat this game without doing an ollie. So if we're gonna do this, then we should first define what an ollie actually is. So to do that, I just looked it up on Google and found this video of someone learning how to do an ollie from Tony Hawk, so you know it's official. The internet would never lie to me. Going by this video, then we can say an ollie is any time a skater willingly jumps with their board into the air. So for the sanctity of this run, anytime I hit the jump button on the ground and come back onto the ground, then that's an ollie and it isn't allowed. The only real gray area is, does a grind into a jump count as an ollie? This WikiHow post seems to think so anytime I ollie off a rail, that's banned and I will get a slap on the wrist. No complies and bonelesses are also banned because they're just forms of ollies according to the internet, which again is never wrong. Going up a ramp and falling off a building are totally fine because I technically didn't make my skater jump, now did I? He's just going up a ramp without knowing how to jump, presumably screaming for his life on the way down. Some other things I guess you should know are that I'm playing on the GameCube version and I'm playing on normal difficulty. I'm not a speedrunner or good at video games, so cut me a little slack, yeah? I'd really rather not go to baby beginner mode because in order to do that, I have to play through the entire game again thanks to the game not having a change difficulty feature. Great. Welcome to New Jersey, the worst place on earth and where our character and his good friend and lifetime good Samaritan Eric Sparrow live. I don't customize my character because I think he's beautiful just the way he is and move on. The first mission is with the previously mentioned good friend Eric Sparrow who lost his board to some questionable individuals and wants us to gather pieces to his board. I mean, okay. We run across rooftops like a damn acrobat and get his lost board, and then we're introduced to one of the saving graces of the run, the caveman. Basically, I can jump with my legs on the ground and then get on my board to grind or do other tricks. Since my skateboard didn't come into contact with the asphalt, then it's not an ollie. Now, we're just gonna have to do this a lot throughout the game, so be prepared to see a lot of it. From this point on, the game gives us a set number of missions to complete. In order to clear levels, we have to clear every mission but one in an area. The first mission I picked was to hang up flyers, but we never actually have to jump to hit the scary floating green fist, so no issue there. The second mission is to walk a dog by hanging onto its tail as it runs wild. Yeah, the fourth mission puts us in a car for some reason in this skateboarding game, and last I checked a car is not legally a skateboard, so we get through this pretty easily. After doing our neighborhood good deeds, Chad Muska and his cool car appear. Joey here wants to know if anybody can impress him, so in case you ever find yourself in this situation, let me show you how it's done. All you have to do is bust out two more of the only tricks we're going to be using during this run, a manual and a lip trick. Manuals are acrobatic balancing acts where you spam buttons like a madman in order to get the maximum amount of tricks for a combo. Lip tricks are even less acrobatic balancing acts where you literally just put your board up against a curve. Normally, you'd have to jump to get safely out of these, but if you push a manual's balance arrow to the top or the lip trick's arrow to the right, you just stop your trick, allowing you to safely return to normal without ollieing. Pulling these tricks off impresses this Chad so much that he donates us, the Virgin, a skateboard. We're now on a mission to get recruited by a skate shop, so naturally we have to impress everyone on the skate team. We start out by doing literally the exact same thing we just did to impress this loser here. After that, we have to do some spine transfers, and let me remind you that I'm not jumping here, I'm just charging at ramps full speed and then just getting lucky, and then we have to hit various moves and also break our neck a couple of times. After this is one of the toughest missions in New Jersey. This dork here wants us to get up on the roof of the house, and luckily we can do that without ollieing, but then he wants us to transfer to the other side of the house. This is way hard to do without ollieing, and I kept either accidentally trying to nail tricks and accidentally hitting a no comply off the roof, or just falling into the trash. Fortunately, every time that happened I got a nice little stat boost, and eventually I was able to make it across with a precise angle. By no means is it the hardest mission we'll face, but it did take a couple of tries. After that, we learned that those very synchronized criminals have managed to steal the gear of our good friends, as they are wont to do. Instead of doing the normal thing and, I don't know, calling the cops, our man decides to get their stuff back himself. We Metal Gear Solid our way over there, and again, we're not on our board, so this is pretty straightforward. Also, Eric blows up a car. As you do. Oh hey, it's Stacy Peralta, and he wants to sponsor us. Those criminals want to take advantage of our popularity by killing both Eric and I in cold blood, so we have to do a slightly longer version of the first mission to get them off our tails. Again, easy. Unfortunately, we're at that first mission that I thought was going to be a problem. See, there are cops on this bridge for whatever reason, and in order to make it to the area past them, we have to do this mission. So we sketch this ugly green car and go up the ramp and... yeah, that's not happening. I tried a couple more leaps of faith. I tried sneaking past, grinding past, talking out our differences, but none of it was working. I came to the conclusion that the only way to beat this mission was to hit some hitbox on the far end of the bridge, and without doing an ollie off the ramp, that wasn't happening. So I swallowed my pride and hit the A button, sending me over the bridge. But wait just 1 second, don't go anywhere just yet. Remember earlier what I said in the rules? Now, I want you guys to have a look at this footage. See, I never landed from that jump, and according to the rules, in order for an ollie to count, I have to make the landing. If cutscene me makes a jump, then it wasn't my input, so the run continues, meaning this run is still alive. This policeman won't let us in the train station because he has stereotyped us as skate punks, so we just have to grind around him in circles to make him sad. Obviously, I had to caveman up to the circle to grind and then fell off numerous times, but regardless of the injuries we sustained, he died a painful death and we were allowed to progress. We have a choice between 2 missions now, but this first guy's name is Ollie, and since this is a no ollie run, we can't do his mission. I hate this. Do a manual on this weird dirt barricade thing to impress the cringe-ass Nene baby and move on with your life. Oh look, now we get to chase what is presumably a speeding car on a skateboard. Just how fast is this damn thing? After we get so far, we're slapped into another vehicle and chase the criminals down, only for them to somehow get parked like this in the train station, so we crash into them, which Eric miraculously was able to sprint away from, and after a few seconds they were followed by the dealers. I guess car crashes really aren't that serious after all. Slightly traumatic experiences aside, we're here in Manhattan to do some more board skating. We do some more impossibly easy manuals and also disrespect the dead and move on to destroying the lives of multiple nut vendors because I want free nuts for life. After that, we do some really weird mission where we have to grind on these 2 benches using 2 different grinds, and I had to caveman to manually get on my board so I could do the required grinds, but it was possible. We do some more manuals to move on. Eric starts a fight with this upstanding gentleman, and we agree that if we tear up their best spots, they'll help us film for Peralta. How do we impress them with our skating skills, I hear you ask? Well, only by committing insurance fraud by dumping a car into the river in the name of shoes, and then probably the easiest mission in the entire level. After that, we're faced with having to visit the nut vendors who I'm pretty sure we destroyed the livelihoods of earlier, but let's not talk about that. Once inside, we find that this guy wants us to bust a nut, so we hit the nut buster and have the ability to change the trick to how we like, but there's no way I can improve that, so we just leave it be for right now. Once we do that, we have to do tricks to get over this burning taxi. It's another jarring experience, kinda like the previous grinding mission, but it's totally possible to do. Peralta is super impressed because nobody on his team is apparently able to do a manual and lets us on the team. He wants to send us to Tampa, but we have to do missions up here in order to get his bus to drive there. The first guy here, who claims to be a Japanese chef but is literally outside of McDonald's, has a mission for us. Let's just go attack some thieves instead. I find most of them pretty easily, but there's this one guy who's an absolute madman. He's way up high, and I just have to wait for him to do something dumb so I can catch him. Maybe I can get high enough on this ramp to grind after him. Alright, back to plan A. Once we're done there, we get a real interesting cutscene that says a lot about society, and I think I'll just skip that. I don't want to start a political argument. We're apparently now doing work for the cops. I wonder what kind of community service they want me to do. Ah, stereotypes, of course. This mission is actually kind of weird because the hitboxes or the donuts, for whatever reason, don't want to work half the time. I had to go back a lot of times just to get the donuts I thought I'd collect. I also got thirsty and jumped off the boat. One more shot and I was able to get it. Let's do some actual skating now. This chap here wants us to grind on this bouncy car. It's bouncy for no reason, don't look into it. Once we've done that, he wants us to do a kickflip over this awning that took me a couple tries for some reason. And after we do some last minute dry cleaning, we have to do the hardest mission in Tampa. Basically, we have to get all this money and make it down to the bandit while under a time limit. So you basically have to caveman up here, then get off your board because without an ollie you can't make it to the next grinding section. But for some reason this didn't work for me multiple times. I either ended up missing my cue or overshooting. It was pretty frustrating stuff. But eventually I got this run where I was able to get the money, then manual down, but ran out of steam and had to start over. By using the timer runout, I knew it was possible to get the money above the bandit, so I just had to keep going, and eventually I was able to get this run completing the mission. That took way longer than I'm willing to admit. Now we have this super fun mission of grinding to knock down all these ugly signs. Damn it. Okay, so this sign is way too high up for us to hit without an ollie, but with enough speed we should be able to knock it down to size. So I sketch a car, and lo and behold, the sign is now in reach. The rest of the mission is easy, save for some shoddy driving and idiot cops. What did they think was gonna happen if they chased me? Aren't they more familiar with this place than I am?
Look, yeah, I'm sorry about this, but anyway, I gotta go skate. I mean, this could be my big break. And who knows, maybe you could impress a pro or something and get in too.
I wish everything in life just worked out if you impressed people. Actually, I don't think I'd be any further in life if that were the case now that I think about it. In order to impress the objective weirdos around Tampa, we first have to caveman and grind down some bottles, do some manuals, and get thirsty again. But this guy wants us to do tricks with spins, and without elevating oneself off a ramp, that's pretty much a no-go. So we have to do the wall plant combo mission. The guy with a pretty fantastic name wants us to wall plant off this bridge and manual all the way down between the cones at the end of the street. I have to restart this mission a lot because I either miss the wall plant input or my manuals fail or I hear the ollie sound. I also had this happen. Cool. Sheer pigheadedness gets us a run where I finally clear this one though. Oh hey, it's Tony Hawk from Tony Hawk's Underground. Unfortunately, Antonio Hawk is much harder to please and we have to hit a bunch of tricks with those spins that were a pain earlier. I have to keep restarting if I see too many 540 tricks because I know I can't hit them within the time limit. Fortunately for me, I find out that we can impress Anthony Hawk from a really far off distance. So I sketch a car, hit the truck with a spin, and Why didn't I clear the trick? I try again with the same results. What the heck is going on? Well, as it turns out, I'm actually a big dum-dum and keep hitting 720s, which apparently don't count. So I make sure to do a 540 in this last run where I got 3 540 kickflips and then as revenge, manual Tony Hawk into the ground and we're in the competition. Naturally, we completely crush it by doing a balancing act. The last contest is more of the same, but I see Eric cheating in the background in the last part of the mission, so we hit a 100,000 point manual combo and then try to increase our stats. All of a sudden, we have lots of people who want to draft us to their team. We've got Birdhouse, Flip, Element, but all these guys just want to get on my good side and take advantage of me, so I refuse to join. As an advocate of true gender equality and a fan of the color green, I choose to join Girl. You might be wondering to yourself, hey TG, if you like manuals so much, why didn't you do the special trick mission where you get a special manual trick? Well, to that I say, welcome to San Diego, where I just now realized that this script is getting a little long, so I'm gonna try my best to keep it short and sweet for ya. We interrupt this fat man eating Japanese food and he orders us to go pal around with the other skaters and show off our Skittles. But these guys don't even want Skittles. They want us to do absurd skateboarding tricks. We get a grinding mission in this game for the first time in what feels like forever and knock over someone's personal possessions to impress this guy, and I try to cheese this atrium mission that was clearly made for ollieing but to no avail. So I go to the rooftop mission and this happens. We're in a really big pickle because in the only other mission this guy wants us to jump over some stairs and we obviously can't do that. So even though I clearly did what I was supposed to do and nailed both combos, I had to retry the mission. My theory was that this mission ended when you got the 2 gaps required to do this properly, and the only way to do that is to manual at the start, hit the flip move, then run back and manual all the way down while the timer ran out. The issue was that I always either knocked down the barricade or my manual failed. After a while though, I got this run. That was more stressful than it had to be. You may have guessed it by now, but we're still in trouble because the last 2 missions we have to ollie for. As a demo, I try to do the mission actually intended for the atrium and find that there's a gap attached to it. There's absolutely no way we can cheese the atrium gap, so we have to see if we get better luck with the stairs. And to my absolute shock, it turns out that if you caveman out of a jump, you get launched forward even further than if you were to do the standard trick in midair. So this mission is actually possible. We now have to do something I struggle with in real life, which is talk to girls. Despite being on Girl and being an aforementioned advocate of true gender equality, I have to say, I have no idea how to impress girls enough to get them to come to a party. What's that you say? Manual 3 times and show why I shouldn't have a license. Well, okay, if that's what girls like, then that'll be what they get. Acid dropping the towers is all fine and dandy, but getting back up proves to be an issue. You have to get lucky with the way you grab the ledge or you'll fail. It isn't that hard, but yeah, it'll take a couple tries. I do a bit of scavenger hunting that I definitely cleared on the first try and then go driving around in a car in this skateboarding video game again. Our good friend has had too many Pepsis and oh hey, it's Good Samaritan Eric, probably here to do more good deeds. We talk to Eric about the good old days, sketch a police car, do a manual, and cut it a little close with a rather forgiving collection mission, and we're at the demo. Yeah, so unfortunately for the life of me, I can't figure out how to do the mission this way. I can't caveman onto the bar to do the tricks, I absolutely have to do them on the bar, and I can't even hop from rail to rail. This is it. Even if I went into baby beginner mode, I can't hit these tricks. So this is the point where I'm calling it. It is not possible to beat Tony Hawk's Underground without ollieing. This isn't even the mission that I thought would cost us the run, but don't run off anywhere just yet because we're gonna see just how many ollies we're forced to do. I swear that's still entertaining. Please don't go, I could use the watch time. So we can minimize our losses here by waiting for the tricks to reach the scary red zone and then get a bunch of them out of the way at once. We leave this mission with 4 ollies to our name. We depressingly do a manual, and then this kid wants us to do a Russian boneless on this stage, but it's too damn high. Turns out my skills can use a little polishing, so I restart the mission and get some combos to boost my speed, and we can hit the lip trick without ever ollieing. It's pretty sad that that's what cost us the run, but it is what it is. Off to Hawaii. We're coming up to our next big roadblock in Hawaii, but for right now we have to ruin some weddings. Boom, 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 done. This guy wants us to get laid, but I reject his offer and get some necklace things instead. After failing a mission that's clearly intended to be a combo mission, we do another easy driving mission that seems vaguely familiar somehow. We then do a wall plant mission that I definitely did correctly on the first try, and then we move on. Hawaii is holding a competition, so I manual and lip trick for a close victory. I'm off to impress more girls with my charms and then fail to do some lip tricks because this one is too damn high, and I can't exactly skitch my way to this height like I have been doing. This guy wants us to do a manual all the way down here, but I just can't do it with a caveman. I try to do the Wallows combo transfer mission, but even though I got all the gaps in one combo, it doesn't count because I guess this mission is allergic to the caveman too. I'm pretty sure the intended method is to use reverts and manuals, so that's exactly what I do. I do a wire grind and end with a jump. There isn't any other way to do this mission other than this ending, so sadly we have to bite the bullet and add a 5th ollie to our counter. With most missions down, the only one that isn't going to get us a whole lot more ollies is the manual one. And I find out that I'm stupid, and if I just speed up at the front of the ramp, then this is definitely possible. I climb up the hotel on the first try, and we have to confront our second huge roadblock that I mentioned earlier. We call our good friend who would never snake us Eric, and he comes up to the hotel roof because he's a good guy who wants to help us out. Unfortunately, before the actual roadblock, Eric wants us to jump between these 2 hotels, and I just can't do it without ollieing. Add another one to the counter. After doing a few manuals, guess what? Eric says he wants us to do a 900 spin. There ain't no way we can't do that without an ollie. It's almost as if Eric is out to ruin our run. So ruin it he does, and now we have 7 ollies on our counter. And it's here, the other mission I knew was gonna be trouble, the helicopter jump. Although Eric begs us not to despite having us jump between 2 hotels earlier, your good friend and mine, the main character, wants us to do a McTwist over the helicopter. But let me tell you right now, there's no way to do it without ollieing. Everything I try ends up with me getting chopped to bits while me in an alternate universe comes to try this again. You might be thinking I can pull off the same stunt I did in New Jersey, but unfortunately, this mission is another one based off a gap, so we have to land this trick. This adds another ollie onto our counter. Lame. There are a lot of missions in Vancouver, but they aren't that terrible and they also aren't that noteworthy, so let's just blow through them real quick. The first mission we try and this guy wants us to nollie. No thanks, moving on. This guy wants us to record him going underground, but we never actually go underground, and then we do some manuals because it's the only trick we know how to do. We go back to attacking skaters that are very hard to find, fail a combo mission, drive a leaf blower cart, help a very stereotypical Canadian man, drive a blow cart again, and drive a limo.
Time to introduce our newest pro, Eric Sparrow!
What? Eric snaked us? But I spent this entire video saying he'd never do that. In any case, we're now in the jam, and now it's time to slam, and slam we do, considering the only missions here involve manuals and hip transfers, both of which are easy to do. The final mission is to beat Eric's score on his line, and it's a bit of a time crunch, but I got it on my first try, and so can you. Tony Hawk's Underground is also an educational game, and we learn that skaters make more money from merch than skating, so we have to get a shoe deal. I don't know a whole lot about shoes, so I just picked this mission that wants me to do manuals. Unfortunately, my bus starts to leave without me for some reason, and for similarly vague reasons, I've left my socks, shoes, and trophy all over Vancouver. Picking them all up is more than simple without an ollie, and we're done with Canada. It was nice to have a break from all those really long levels and just got through a bunch of chapters really quickly. Before we get into Moscow, I learned that I can turn all the probably copyrighted music off. That would have been nice to know, but that's editor TG's problem. I just have to skate. The Russian Federation wants us to caveman onto their tanks, but they also want a 20,000 point combo, so I do a manual and then caveman up there. The other mission I picked was to do lip tricks because that's easy. We have to add another ollie onto our counter for the spine transfer mission because it's attached to a gap and there's nothing I can do about it.
Distract the guards up there, and I'll figure out phase 3 of Operation D's.
Operation D's what?
D's nuts!
Literally every mission from this section of Moscow can be done with manuals, but the last mission with Eric takes multiple tries because trying to get tricks in the air is my weakness. Sometimes my tricks get lots of points, sometimes they don't. That's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. I did this mission so much that when I cleared it, I didn't even realize I cleared it. Eric has moved on from stealing our skate spots and has now framed us for destruction of property. For some reason, the Russian government doesn't like that, so we get thrown in jail. But what's worse, we get thrown off the team. So now we have to find a way to get back to America. Now, the best way to do this would be, and say it with me now, impress the locals with skateboarding tricks. I guess we're actually doing work for this one now. The first mission involves driving around, so no problem. The following mission revolves around walking and semi-difficult spine transfers, and the final mission is a collectathon. This one item is a bit out of reach, but I've got plenty of time built up around being speedy, so I take advantage of the game's wonky jump mechanics to get up easily. After presumably being engrossed in the Russian mafia, we now have to once again Metal Gear Solid over to St. Basil's while our camera is covered in green jello. I don't know if there's a right way to do this mission, but the way I do it, I only ever come across like 2 guards. It's the final area of the game, back where it all began. Truly inspiring storytelling there, very poetic. The first thing my skater tries to do is replace the Nutbuster, but I say no thanks and we have to combo the city. Doing this without an ollie, I'm calling it now, is not happening. I can manual down and grind on the rail here, which trust me, takes a lot of patience on its own. But after that point, the game wants us to jump onto this next rail, and I'll be damned if there's any other way to do it. This mission might be possible for someone who's, I don't know, good at video games, but for me, I'm adding our 10th ollie onto the counter. The next 2 missions are easy, as they're just nail the trick and get a high score. We're now in a position to make a team because the rest of the pros pity us for not knowing how to ollie. I take a while to name the team because I want it to be perfect. We enlist the help of Tony Hawk because this is his video game, Chad Muska and his cool car, Mike Vallely because he said I was cool, and these other guys based off nothing. The problem with this chapter is that a lot of them require ollies, so let's just get the simple ones out of the way first. Moscow takes a few tries because I messed the grind up and had to restart, but gathering all the tapes is more than possible. I get the Tampa mission done in one go with a combination of manuals and lip tricks. I give the Slam City Jam mission a shot to no avail, so I go to see how the New Jersey mission fares. Okay, moving on. I'm fairly confident that the Manhattan mission is impossible, but I give it my best go. This might be possible for someone with more skill than I, but I can't manage it for right now. That leaves Hawaii, Vancouver, and San Diego. Hawaii requires 1 ollie to get to the hotel roof, but the other spine transfers don't. Vancouver similarly requires 1 ollie to do a spine transfer in the middle. Now with 12 ollies to our name, we have to figure out San Diego, the same level that cost us our run. San Diego's mission required a bunch of transfers, as you'd expect, but a lot of them are in near impossible places to get to unless you can cheese them. There are only 2 easy transfers in this section. The first one you just have to get to the higher level for, and the second you can do with a precise angle. Every other one takes some cheese and some skitches. You can skitch the green truck to get the 2 gaps by the stairs as well as the one over the pillar. You can abuse the double jump physics to get onto these higher ledges and do the transfers there. For the last one, there are no cars to skitch onto, so you have to go up this half pipe, get off your board, then jump off the wall and grab the ledge and transfer down onto the ramp below. Transfer down onto the ramp below. Of all the things we've done late game, this is the one I'm most proud of. I straight up thought this was impossible. I'll spare you the glorious video of our skating escapades and skip to the final chapter of the game. This is it, the final mission. The final line of New Jersey. This is a glorified 41 item collectathon with a 2-minute time limit. It's kinda crazy even if we could ollie, but let's see how it goes. The first part of the line is fine and dandy until we get to this ramp. The game wants us to ollie up the ramp and onto the wire, and that's difficult enough, but we can't get enough height to do that. By abusing the double jump glitch, we can grab onto the wire and try to grind with mixed results. More often than not, I either fall or end up grinding the wrong way. But when I do get the grind, I have to bail immediately because I won't maintain enough speed to get to the next part of the line. We can walk on the bridge to get the next parts of the combo, but our timer is quickly depleting. The next piece of the combo expected us to ollie from the bridge onto the wire, but we can't do that, so we use Headstone Harry's workshop as a makeshift solution. The rest of the town is primarily smooth sailing, but our timer runs out just as another difficult jump appears. I think if we can get our stats a little higher, we might be able to do a little better, so I do that with some wall plants, cavemans, manuals, and lip tricks. I'm also finally throwing in the towel on that first grind. It has to be an ollie or there's no way we can make all the combos in time. We try the run again with the ollie and find out that if we can maintain it, we can get the other pieces of the line much faster. We keep going and get oh so close, are you kidding me? Once we get to around the last 5 pieces of the line, we also have to somehow get the 2 that are way up there. I'm so frustrated by this point that I just decide that an ollie is needed to get up there. It takes a couple more runs to get there, but I get this one run where I get the Headstone Harry jump on the first try. The run carries on, but I messed up the pipe grinding section for a bit. Once we're done there, the playground gives me its usual trouble, but it isn't that bad. I actually mess up the part where I'm supposed to ollie off the rail, so it doesn't work. I decide to carry on because I've got a little time left to see what I can do, and end up getting both the roof pieces without ollieing. Time is running out, and I'm running purely on adrenaline here. If I can spine and do a manual, I can probably finish the mission in a combo. Turns out, I don't need it, and we can finish the mission with mere seconds remaining. That brings the total number of ollies required to beat Tony Hawk's Underground to 13. Incredible. Overall, I had a lot of fun doing this run. It was nice to try and play a game in a different style than I'd been accustomed to. The word ollie is kind of subjective though, because if you don't agree with WikiHow, then suddenly the Hawaii grind mission is possible, and there were certain situations like the gap missions where I could have just gotten off my board after the gap and said they didn't count because I didn't land on my board. My overall game plan for this run was to try not to jump on my board, so I didn't want to count them aside from the bridge jump. But if you remove both of those things, that actually leaves us with the San Diego gaps and any gaps requiring transfers like the recent hotel transfer. Consequently, the ollie made in the last mission can be cancelled out with the secret ending, but considering I didn't get a no ollie run up until that point, I wasn't willing to pull that one out. If there's ever an addendum to this video with new findings, I'll put an end card to it here. But for now, we know that you can beat Tony Hawk's Underground with 13 ollies. If you want to see more stuff like this, then let me know. This is obviously my first time making this kind of video, so I'd love to hear all your feedback and how I could have beat this challenge if I sucked less, so leave a comment. Also, subscribe and like and all that jazz to make me look way cooler than I actually am. Thanks for watching.